Hello everybody, Realm Builder Guy here, and welcome back to the channel and Sparta and Imperator Rome. Before I kick things off in today's episode, a few little things. Thank you, first of all, for all the views. I know I say that every time, but it really humbles me and blows me away. We've now cracked 3,000 subscribers here on the channel. February was huge, over 1,000 new subscribers. And when you're a small channel, and you have that much growth in such a short period of time, that is absolutely fantastic. And a lot of it is down to Imperator Rome. So for those of you that are here for the Imperator Rome content, thank you so much. And also don't forget to check out the other content on the channel, Crusader Kings 3, as well as some game reviews and some other stuff. I've got some more stuff coming in the future also as far as game reviews, first looks for some new stuff very, very soon. So maybe even next week. So stay tuned for that. Then also I want to thank everybody that has been buying Imperator Rome or the Heirs of Alexander content, or expansion pack, better said, through my Nexus GG store link. The link is in the description. And obviously for everybody that's been leaving tips as well, thank you so much. If you're looking for ways to support the channel financially, if you're able to, there are a few different options. First of all, of course, you can buy this and a few other games through my Nexus GG store. Link in the description. You can also support the channel on Patreon, where I've got a few different tiers and a few different levels and benefits that you get from that. And then finally, the easiest one is honestly just to let the ads play. I know they're annoying here on YouTube, but if you let the ads play, that boosts revenue for the channel. And to tell you just how much crazy money you make here on YouTube, I think February revenue was $150 total. So yeah, that's a lot, man. That's a ton, given that I've put in more than 150 hours into the channel. That's a little bit below US minimum wage. So anyway, again, thank you so much. But views, likes, and comments help just as much because the channel is being seen, YouTube is recommending it, and that leads to growth. Now, we do have a few more community viewer stories. Two more that have to do with Arius Folly that I will talk about now. Keep those coming. I'm probably not going to refer back to that here in individual episodes, but if you have new stuff, and we have a new entry for some new history, please keep those coming. It's so much fun. It adds flavor to the save, to the Let's Play series that otherwise you just don't get. I mean, I know we all make up stories in our own head or write them down or whatever, but when it's like written for you by viewers, it just adds a little bit of something. So first of all, from the Ghost Legend 001 on Arius Folly, as I'm calling it. After the completion of the siege of Diodoros, with no other options, the ruling families of Diodoros accepted their inevitable fate and sued for peace. During the conference, tensions were still high due to the complete annihilation of the city of Troezen. However, the Epidaurians accepted the terms set by the Spartans and agreed to the annexation of their great city. Hermione, or Hermione as it's better known, managed to settle a white peace with Sparta on the condition that didn't join the defensive league against them. All terms were accepted, and the festivities began as it seemed that all parties involved would finally know peace. Late into the night, however, a diplomat from Hermione, shamelessly drunk after hours of swigging wine, made a pass at a lady also attending the celebrations. Unbeknownst to him, this lady was none other than the Queen of Sparta, Klaino. Absolutely insulted at the thought of infidelity, she struck the drunk fool clean across the face and called to her husband to defend her honor. Enraged at this blatant insult, the king dragged the diplomat by his hair to the grain pits at the base of the Epidaurian palace, followed closely by his loyal retinue. He found the deepest of the pits and condemned the Hermionian in front of the people and all the gods of Olympus for his blatant adultery, for slitting his throat and kicking his quivering body into the pit. The killing of a diplomat was no less than an act of war, and the king of Hermione had no choice but to treat it as such. After hearing about the events at the nearby palace, the city of Epidaurus flew into chaos, requiring the Spartan garrison to come out in force and quell the riots. A few days later, the news of the so-called half-day peace reached Sparta. Noble, citizen, and helot alike were all in despair at the prospect of losing even more sons than they already had, all for the pride of their great and glorious king. Then, the next entry comes from RCG. Marius, consumed with the fervor of war, and in his arrogance saw eternal conquest of Greece in his future. However, he was far removed from the position of he and his countrymen, and in his haste declaration of war revealed his fatal flaw, his hubris. Forever tainting his legacy, he dedicated himself to a life of discipline and rigorous punishment. Thus, Marius transformed weakness into strength, such is the way of Spartans. Origin is unknown, thought to be a line from an incredibly successful and beautifully written Spartan play. Be as Marius, meaning find strength and weakness, a very common Spartan saying after that. And then finally, coming in from Bull Party, he commented about the war with Thrace. To think that barbarian nation Thrace had the guts not just to ally us and act as if we had asked for it, but then not even a month after they needed help defeating rebels and fight an enemy that doesn't even have pikemen or even steel weapons. We, the honorable Spartans, even helped them fighting the campaign, but I fear my great and noble warrior king, they have betrayed us. They left our glorious 3,000 troops to fight an enemy that outnumbered us 3-1 at least. We almost won the battle, as you may see, but Thrace reinforcements that said would come never did. So that is why we got defeated in a close battle. So again, thank you for this awesome flavor added to the game, added to this Let's Play series. It really makes it so much fun for me. So we talked about last time the goal of conquering Amphissa, right here, and making them a client state. The problem making them a client state is that they do actually then take up a diplomatic slot. We currently have the availability for 2 relations. If we exceed that, that's a 10% reduction in political influence. Now, a 10% reduction in political influence, that is 0.107, so 0.11 would go down. That's not great. But at the same time, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would hurt our political influence. So I don't know if we want to do that. So instead, there are 2 options. We can either just conquer Amphissa outright, which is, you know, which I'm leaning towards more, because then we have a foothold up here on the, let's call it, this is part of the Greek mainland, but when you say Greek mainland, you really think of this region right here instead of the Peloponnese. Or turn them into a tributary and just siphon money off of them. They have limited diplomatic relations they can break, obviously, with us. But other than that, it's a very limited relationship. Having a foothold here might not be bad, if I'm perfectly honest. I'm also thinking about destroying or getting rid of forts up here. I'd probably keep the fort in Amphissa because they're so removed from the rest of us. Here, I feel pretty safe because we do have Elis, our ally, our trusted ally, right next door. So because of that, click on that, we will just get rid of that fort. I do want to keep the fort in Pellene, simply because here we will be surrounded by enemies once we get into the Peloponnesian War. That's also why I'm keeping the fort here in Diodoros. Also to quell the overall want for freedom. You know, I've done a little bit more digging and research, watched a few presentations, listened to a few podcasts, also specifically around Spartan society. And Sparta was known as a society very much dependent upon forced labor, whether it's the periokoi, which I always have a hard time pronouncing, or helots, which there's always that rumor that, you know, the Spartan citizenry was always worried about a constant threat of helot revolt, even though modern historians do believe that's a little bit overblown. Spartan citizenry was actually forbidden from having a profession. So they could focus more on things like, well, warfare, physical training. They oftentimes won the Olympics, which we have not been able to do. So to kind of reflect that, I do want to start boosting more and more our slave population, both output as well as happiness, because that will help our income as well. If we look at our economy right now, the economy is going to be boosted simply by the fact that we now got rid of one of those forts. We're keeping all of our maintenance up because, of course, we will be declaring war on Amphissa, and I have kind of talked myself into wanting to just flat out conquer Amphissa. So our fleet is in position. We will now go to Amphissa. We will declare war and call in our allies. All right, so we have done that. We will now head on over to the military and raise all of our levies. Our military will outnumber theirs slightly, but the nice thing is we are calling in allies to help fight this war. So let's just get on the ship and then head up north to Amphissa to start conquering. Unfulfilled promises. Acrotatos has registered his official displeasure at our continuing refusal to grant him a position benefiting his stature. To make matters worse, he has the support of a number of prominent members of our court. Perhaps we should have acted sooner. We shall rectify this situation shortly. But first things first, we need to send our troops. Alright, we cannot land because of the fort. So, what we're gonna have to do first is go here, access, ask for military access. Boom, we have it. So now we can send our troops to land and then march over. Victorious. We had a quick battle against them and stack wipe them. Now we're going to move on over and then tell our fleet where we do not have a commander. Let's see. Menipos. I added a mod that's basically just turns neutral armies and navies to gray. They are usually kind of a rust brown. And it was very hard to distinguish that from the red of enemy. So I have added that mod. It's a tiny little quality of life mod, but I think it makes a huge difference. We have received an envoy sent by Archon Praxibolus Nikid, ruler of our ally Elis. He offers our ruler, Basileus Aris, a personal friendship. Absolutely. We are close friends with our allies. Right now, it looks like we're a little bit down here in bad research ratio. All right, the neglected. Utterly tired of waiting for his promised role in government, Acrotatos has been quietly whispering in the ear of our closest confidants. Anaximandros has been wooed by the venomous words. Now both these traitorous curs are spreading rumors of our lack of integrity. We should have acted sooner. All right, so let's go to Acrotatos real quick. Looks like there is not much we can do here with either one of them. All right, so onwards we go with the conquest of Amphissa. Let me know what you think about the mod to change the neutral color to gray. I'm a bit of a fan of that, to be honest. All right, we do have an event here, the Faith of Charis. Pause the game real quick. Never has a more devout man existed than Charis Agiad. Our people clamor at the very door of the temple, demanding that we declare a feast in his honor. I think we will declare the glory. It costs some gold, but we gain stability of 6 and gains blessed by the gods for 47 months, which means our religious tech investments go up by 5%. A religious procession. Struggle between the religious echelons of our society and the peasants has recently come into light, and the populace at large feel like the religious ceremonies are inaccessible and distant. On the other hand, our high priest and his attendants demand the distance needed to do their jobs properly. In an argument, the peasants have no rights to the inner workings of our religious ceremonies. The priests will be left alone. So we lose stability, but we gain closed temples, which means state religious happiness goes down 5%, omen power goes up, loyalty of Charis goes up by 10, and the religious tech investments go up by 5%. A procession through the territory will ease both sides. I think that's fine. Kind of the middle ground is what Arius would most likely do, and it boosts our stability even further. All right, Amphissa has been taken. Time to sack. I think the looting be gentle. There was a comment in the last episode that given Arius's character trait of being disciplined, he's unlikely to let the men roam freely, and that is correct. So we will let the looting be gentle, so we'll gain 10 prestige, 6 gold personally, and Sparta gains 6 gold, and popularity goes up by 5. And with that, we will sue for peace, take Boeotia to Sparta, and now that is part of our territory. We will pass judgment on the important families, as we have done previously. So, let's take a look. So first of all, we have Callisthenes to take a look at. He's pretty good. Martial, finesse, charisma, and zeal are decent. He is pious, disciplined, and silver-tongued. He we can definitely use, so we will welcome him. Then, Huron. He's okay. I mean, he's self-controlled, content, and miserly. Don't necessarily mind that. He already has some loyalty, so we'll add him. And then finally, Diodoros. He's pretty average. He's ambitious, obsessive, cruel, and uncaring. No. We will get rid of him. There we go. We have now expanded our Spartan footprint ever further. But of course now our costs do go up. Let's go back to our military. We will... Oh! Envy of the Antigonid Kingdom. We have, okay, our neighbors wonder if the object of envy and awe of our populace, the people speak of the superiority of the Antigonid Kingdom. Dangerous talk. We would do well to heed the mood of the people and refocus their efforts on creating our own monumental work, or if all else fails, we could always take Methone from our neighbor instead. So when it comes to monumental works, Spartan society wasn't really known for that. They had a few things. I think there was the Athene. I think it was Athena's bronze temple, and then they had the roundhouse. But overall, it wasn't Athens. You know, they kept it simpler. There weren't huge grand structures even found years later. That's why Sparta, even today, as far as tourism, it just doesn't attract the amount of people because there weren't these grand things. There's no Acropolis in that sense that you get to see, or the Parthenon, or anything major like that. But they did add few things just to kind of appease people. All right. We have other priorities. This is not worthy of our attention, so we lose popularity and gain tyranny. Now, that doesn't make sense. For him, that wouldn't make sense. Assure the people that we should appreciate what we have. So we gain prominence, but Sparta loses stability. I'm pretty sure that belongs to us. So gains a claim of Methone and gains tyranny. Where are you? Well, you're somewhere up there. I mean, that's really far away. I mean, either way, we gain either tyranny, which hurts our loyalty gain chance, threshold of civil war, loyalty of characters goes down, slave output goes up. Yeah, we'll just gain a claim on it and leave it for now. If we go to our Nauticon, we will go back to We could hunt fleets. Let's do no objective right now. Kind of want to leave our army up here. And we could move our army back up north to support Thrace. That is something we could do. Let me just pause the game here real quick. It looks like Thrace is now controlling this region more and more and more. I'm seeing that's a pretty large, not too large army there. Like I said, we could move our army back up north again and try that again. They're looking like they're going to be taking Bithynia here pretty quickly. So, I think in the meantime, where am I going? We could do that, but let's just pause real quick in general and kind of see where things are. Our Nauticon, let's move them back over here, and then either way transport our troops. And just take a quick macro view of everything around us. Not much we can do here. The defensive league is still very, very strong centrally, and if we take them on, at the end of the day, we will lose. I mean, that is not even up for debate. Plus, Aetolia will come to their aid as well. We can't do anything with Epirus. I mean, we could bump up our alliance slots if we're completely honest and do that, but I just don't see a reason for it. It just... Yeah, the decision we have to make now is what we do as far as expansion goes. Boeotia is... I'm completely butchering that name, I'm sure. They're allied with the Antigonids, so they are an absolute no-go. Then Aetolia, they're allied with Messenia. We could add them to a defensive league. I don't remember whether or not defensive leagues count as a diplomatic relation or not. But yes, I do believe it does take up a slot, so there's no point in doing that. Is there anybody else we can really go after here? I mean, the problem is the Antigonids are very strong in this region. Thebes and Boeotia are in a defensive league. But everybody else is a feudatory of somebody. Athens is a feudatory of Macedon. Where does Macedon sit right now? They are allied with Argos and Oreos. Of course, we declare war on them. They are currently not in a war, and they are part of a larger defensive league. What we really need is additional diplomatic relations slots, so we need to take a look at our trade, which is something we should do real quick anyway. So just kind of looking at our trade, you know, we're exporting wine right now internally, but that's about it. I think what we could start doing is micromanaging our trades a little bit. We've got the iron and the olives surplus. I think we'll just open that up and just kind of go through ones individually. And we don't want to lose the capital bonus, of course, but picking a next area to go to. I mean, our war exhaustion's okay. Our aggressive expansion's okay. We've got Embracia in a defensive league. Epirus, but they would probably completely destroy us. Let's be honest. So we're a little bit, I'm not going to say stuck, but trying to figure out the best route to go is a little difficult at this point. I mean, Macedon has put down the revolt, so that is no longer an issue. So they are definitely powerful. Thrace is still still in that conquest war. These guys are still part of the Antigonids, so there's really not a ton to do there. Rhodes, they are allied with Gortina in down here in Crete. Now we could try to take Crete. That is an area we could go to. And it was interesting, there was actually a comment in the last video, I believe, where a viewer said that the people of Sparta originated from Crete. So I find that rather interesting. Or we could go after Rhodes, but that's a little very far. I think moving down here to Crete would make more sense. Tara is part of is a feudatory of Gortina. If we take on Gortina, we'll take on Rhodes, and we would just be vastly outnumbered. Knossos, they are allied with Eripetra. Knossos is one that we could beat, I believe. I think there's a very good chance we could defeat Knossos in a war, since they only have the one ally. We would be pretty equal, but we would need our allies to come into the war with us. And I just don't know if Thrace, with this war still going on, will come all the way down here to help us, the same as Elis. I just don't see it. And the problem we have right now is we are not in a position to take on Messenia, because if we take on Messenia and all of these guys here come in and they have an ally, everybody comes in with a 2,000 stack army, we have no chance, because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 8 individual armies. We can only muster 2. Or 2 allies. I mean, if Thrace would come and help us, we have a chance. If they don't, we have no chance. That is a fact. We can see here Opus. They are importing, but they would be one we could opportunistically go after. We could go after Thebes, which of course pulls Boeotia. I need to learn how to pronounce that, into a war. But without declaring war on them, because they, of course, are allied with the Antigonids. Because if we then win that war, we could defeat them. So what we're going to do now is actually, in Thebes, what we're going to do here is covert. We can't fabricate claim. We could not... They have no provinces which we could conquer in a war that would fabricate. Only coastal provinces in our control range, or those adjacent to our territory, can be claimed. Ah, there we go. That's the problem. Now, these guys in Opus, we could press a claim on. Problem with Thebes is they are completely outside of our range. So what we could do is take on Opus and declare a war there and take that region. I mean, it puts us in a very precarious position, but we need to add more to our bottom line as far as people go. That's one of the problems. I wouldn't mind taking the Nisiotic League, but they are a feudatory of the Antigonids, and as such, the Antigonids would come in, and the Antigonids would absolutely destroy us. So this is our current precarious situation. We could go after Knossos. We could expand south into Crete. This is a war that would be very tight. We have complete naval superiority. They only have the one ally. If our allies come into the war, this is a war we could win. If they do not, then it will be very, very difficult. And Elis right now don't have the ships required for them to transport their army, I don't believe. So that's the problem. That is a dilemma we have right now as far as where to go in terms of expansion. As far as southern Italy goes, Croton, they have a defensive alliance with Metapontum. Metapontum is up here. So Croton and Metapontum. So we could move into southern Italy. Thuria is a client state of Rome. Brutia is a client state of Rome. And this is... taking on Rome would not be smart. Getting into their territory would be very, very, very difficult. Now we can start to try to colonize further up north. Epirus would be far too powerful to take on. But I mean, we could start, you know, leaping up north and taking territory outside of Greece. But that's not really what I want to do. So I think what we're going to start with here is, you know, see, these guys have alliances with just Macedon or the Antigones. We will go to Opus, and we will fabricate a claim on Opus. Like I said, we just need to grow as a nation. We need to add more manpower. We need to add more people. And so we are going to go along those lines. Other than that, there's not a lot else we can do right now. We can send our army up north, and we are very close in our military experience to being able to unlock a military tradition. If we go to our traditions, we can go to the Greek polis traditions or the Greek kingdom traditions. We need 80 in experience, and then veterans of Greek campaign. Character with exceptionally high martial is promoted to the ranks. Cohort starting experience plus 10%, experience decay minus 5%. Or noble ride, which means light cavalry morale goes up by 10%, but we don't have any cavalry. The police, this will add freemen all over the place, and that may not be bad. Adding freemen, because that adds to our manpower, which will grow our army size. I think this is the way we are going to go. Morale of armies, so when active, morale of armies goes up by 5%, and recruit mercenary cost goes down by 10%. Okay, so I just sped it forward just 2 months, and we now have the ability for the military tradition. See, everything is locked except these two. I think going for arms for hire is the right move. So embracing arms for hire will obviously cost us our military experience, but it gives us a morale of armies of plus 5%, and recruit mercenary cost goes down. And we are adding Lacedaemonian freemen in Epidaurus, Lacedaemonian freemen in Sparta and Amphissa. So yes, we will do that. Fantastic. The Diadochi, despite, or perhaps due to their fractious bickering, were possessed of wealth beyond the dreams of most nascent monarchs. As such, mercenary cohorts were often available in the regions around the Greek despots. All right, so we have added that one. Fantastic. Fantastic. So now, adding those freeman pops will help in multiple ways. Now, freemen help with tax, but really to grow your tax, you need slaves. Freemen are mainly meant here for your manpower. So we need to keep growing that bit by bit by bit. So I think that kind of, you know, it's not a... I would say this episode is satisfying because we won a war. We've kind of defined a little bit of a strategy, but we're not quite there. We're picking and choosing. This is the war we need to fight. We need to fight this war, but we need to do it in an intelligent manner. And at this point, if we go into this war and fight it, it will be a loss. I strongly believe we will get stack wiped. The biggest hope we can have is that Thrace pieces out in this war soon, and then they are free from that war. I mean, right now they are still fighting it. I mean, it should be over here soon, I would assume. But once they're out of that war, I believe we could stand a chance in this one. If we declare war here, they would come, but this is everything we are dealing with then. Everything. And it will be very, very difficult. Now, it's something we can try and potentially lose. And that could potentially end this series pretty prematurely. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What we should do next. Should we just focus on taking Opus and growing little bit by bit, maybe expanding into Crete next? Or do we go in here and take these guys and risk a potentially disastrous outcome? Because those armies will swarm us so fast that it will be very, very difficult. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section down below, and let me know some more histories and thoughts behind some of these interesting characters we are dealing with here with this Spartan Let's Play series. So until next time, I'm Realm Builder Guy, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.